It's the Orioles on Masson. It is a hot Saturday night in Arlington, Texas, as the Orioles and Texas Rangers get together. Tonight it's Game 3 in this 4-game weekend series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter. Thanks so much for joining us. And, of course, with the Orioles now in a full rebuild, there is a lot of excitement about the players that we may see in Baltimore here over this final third of the season. Now, of course, the Orioles acquired 15 players in that flurry of trade activity, but they also have prospects in the organization that they drafted and developed, and they're waiting for that phone call. Over the course of the next couple of months, we expect to see several of those prospects. Now, 3 of those are already here. In fact, 3 that came in the trades during the trade deadline. And they all got in the game last night, and so far so good for the 3 players. Evan Phillips made his Orioles debut last night. He pitched 2 scoreless innings, and he struck out 3. Cody Carroll already has been in a couple of games, 2 scoreless innings, 1 base hit allowed, still looking for his first strikeout. And how about Jonathan Villar, who comes in? He was acquired in the Jonathan Scope trade, takes over at second base in 2 games. He's batting 5 for 10, a 500 average with a couple of multi-hit games, and he's played very well defensively. And Jim Palmer, that's what you want to see. Players brought in. You're hoping for some excitement. You're hoping for some thrust going forward. And so far, at least these 3 players have done that.
Yeah, and then you have to replace whether it's Manny or Villar replacing Scope. You look at the young pitchers, you want guys that can have good arms, can throw strikes, and we saw that. Phillips, of course, he grew up an Oriole fan. Cal was his favorite guy. And they talked about the fact that his fastball plays harder than the 94, 95. So guys are pretty good fastball hitters. He threw a lot of strikes. And then you get Cody Carroll, the ability to throw 97 with ease. They're going to work on his slider. So already you see these guys, Carroll twice, Phillips, 1 time last night, and then all of a sudden you're going, what can we do? And then you get to Villar. Villar is a veteran guy in a sense that, if you go back to 2016, he was one of the better second basemen in the National Leagues, with 19 home runs, with 62 stolen bases, which led the National League. So he can play a little bit. And what I like, number one, he comes over here, and again, he's the prototypical leadoff guy, knows how to do it, having success, and he doesn't overswing, and then maybe you don't do it when you're getting beat, 15-8 and 11-3, but he can steal a base.
Now, last Sunday, Jim Palmer was in Cooperstown, New York for the Hall of Fame inductions, and one of the inductees, Vladimir Guerrero, honored here tonight. He played 1 season for the Texas Rangers back in 2010, and it was a nice ceremony on the field. Vladimir is all about getting it done, and he swung at anything close.
Yeah, well, he swung it to a lifetime batting average of .318. Did 449 home runs, and 477, I think, MVP in 2004, special player.
And here's Adam Jones remembering Vladimir fondly, his 1 season in Baltimore in 2011.
It was good playing with him in 2011. I miss his mom's cooking. He brought in big bags every day of food. He played the game hard. He was ultimate veteran, commanded respect, and got respect. Just a prime example of what to do on the base between the lines. Came to work every day.
So Vladimir Guerrero played for the Orioles in 2011. That was a last-place finish, but as Adam points out, they observed the veteran, and in 2012, the Orioles were a playoff team.
Well, early in his career, I'm talking to Felipe Alou, his manager in Fort Lauderdale, and he's hitting him over the light towers. And he said, see those green Australian pines? That was the backdrop. He goes, not only can he hit him over the light tower, he's such a good kid. If I told him to go climb those trees, he'd run out there and do it. So, special player. But, Reggie said, hey, there's Hall of Famers and there's Hall of Famers. He's one of those Hall of Famers.
So Vladimir Guerrero honored here tonight. We're coming back to Arlington, Texas. O's fans in the house. Lineups at first pitch are next. nothing to hide, that's transparency. Well, it's a nice night here in Arlington, Texas, but of course it is warm. It is Texas in the summer. Our game time temperature brought to you by BGE Home. We know more, we do more. 96 degrees, the wind's out of the southeast at 12, but that humidity still cooperating down there at 27%. And again, we have mostly sunny skies with a lot of blue skies overhead. Let's get a look at the Orioles starting lineup presented by Southwest. Low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. VR, Beckham, and Jones up top. Valencia, Trumbo, Mancini at first base tonight in the middle. Nunez, Rickard, and Joseph rounded out. Joey Rickard in his last 6 games, look at those numbers. 7 for 17, a .412 clip with 4 doubles, a home run, and 8 RBIs.
And the 30-year-old left-hander, the Orioles faced him, a couple of starts ago, right before the All-Star break, roughed him up, only went 2 2/3 innings. But he's got all the pitchers. Slider's so important because, he throws around 93, maybe occasionally get above it, but the slider, especially against the righties, gets him off the knuckle curve, change up, and fastball in the outside corner. So again, early start, first time he has started in a number of years, so it looks like maybe, and I think they're going to kind of watch his innings pitch, 2-year deal he signed. So they're kind of backing him off a little bit, so the pitch and the innings have gone up a lot more than he pitched last year. So, but again, he knows how to pitch. I saw him out of the bullpen with Kansas City last year, and I said, boy, that's a guy you want on your staff, especially out of the pen. But this year, the Rangers needed starters, and that's what he's been doing.
Yeah, he signed with Kansas City after he left the Braves. He had shoulder surgery. He had the labrum tear, and he had to work his way back from that. And it was interesting, Jim, because when the Braves let him go and he signed with Kansas City, they knew he probably wouldn't pitch the first year, and as it turned out, he didn't pitch until last year.
Yeah, Tommy John, we know, which is the elbow where they transplant the ligament, and is a much quicker surgery, maybe 10, 12, 14 months. But the labrum, and again, it's different from pitcher to pitcher, but it takes much longer, so you got to build it up. And then again, you don't want to re-tear it. But again, he's they had about 4 starters go down in April, talking about the Rangers. So he's an important part of this ball club, not only this year, but they're looking for starters for next year. There's his pitching coach, Doug Brocale, but he knows how to pitch. But I think out of the bullpen, we saw him last year maybe a tick or 2 miles per hour harder because he was pitching, an inning, maybe very rarely more than 2 innings.
Well, the Rangers gave him a 3-year deal and the promise he'd be in the rotation, and he is. And here is Jonathan VR. He will bat on the right side, the switch hitter, and he is off to a tremendous start with the Orioles. And we are underway on the foul ball in Arlington, Texas. VR 5 hits. They are all singles. Back-to-back multi-hit games to begin his Orioles career, and he's been telling everybody how happy he is to be here because the Orioles wanted him.
And he gets to play. Yeah, you look at, again, a terrific year for Jonathan. He went in there last year. He just didn't have the kind of year, 241 the year before. 62 steals, 19 home runs, getting on base, pretty good defensive guy. And again, an impact player. And you can lead him off. And that's the Orioles. Boy, you got to have them. And for them, it's not about the home runs, and of course, you got to get on. So that's on, averaging on bases, but it's the ability to score runs and become a table setter.
In the air to left center field, it pretty well. Long run back there for Tochi, and at the wall, he makes the catch. He went back as far as he could as VR nearly hit it out for the long fly ball and 1 away.
Well, they got him out of the Philly organization for exactly this. He doesn't hit very well, doesn't steal bases, but he can run them down. And in this ballpark with the ball carrying, that ball's off the end of the bat. And so that's either a double, maybe a home run if it's pulled a little bit more. And he didn't really put a great swing on it. It gives you an idea. A very brush speed night. You talked about it last night, Jim. I don't know the last time the wind didn't blow when we were down in this ballpark.
That'll bring up Tim Beckham. Tim at 235 with 4 home runs. He has a 3-game hitting streak going, and he's put together now back-to-back multi-hit games. Both these teams, the Orioles and the Rangers, have really come out since the All-Star break, and they have been hitting. Orioles, in fact, have 10 or more hits now in 3 consecutive games. They have 10 or more hits in 6 of the last 7. And they have at least 10 hits in 9 of the 13 games since the All-Star break. As Beckham hits it to left field, he's thinking 2, and he's heading to second base, and the throw is off the bag. So there's Beckham in with a 1-out double.
Well, he's been red hot. You know, 3 hits the first night down here. And again, how do you come out of the box dictates. Well, I mean, watch this. He knows it's going to be a double. So it's hooked down in the corner with left fielder Calhoun. He's got to go to his right, so it's a longer throw to second. And plays in front of you, throws off. But if it was on the bag, you know which side of the bag you want to slide to.
So a runner in scoring position for Adam Jones. Adam just 3 for 15 on the road trip, but since the All-Star break, he's batting .340. And he'll look at a strike.
Mike Estabrook, Christmas. He's looking back on. About the highest curveball you'll ever see called. Well out of the zone. But just look where Mike Estabrook, the home plate umpire's eyes are. He kind of ended up right there, and he called it.
Weak ground ball to second. Look at that backswing. Wow. Odor stays with it and 2 down.
Take a look at the Rangers defense. The most errors, even though they've tightened it up. That's one of the things they're trying to do over the last 2 months. Calhoun, Tochi, and Gallo, because of the injury to Mazzara. Profar gets to play third. Andrus, Odor, Guzman, and then Kiner Falafa.
Your new best buddy.
I'm trying to meet him. He's only been catching 2 years, but apparently they think he does a pretty good job. Swings the bat well, gives a good target. An opportunity for him, a utility guy coming through the minor league.
Danny Valencia back in the lineup, and he has been on a tear since the All-Star break. 7-game hitting streak since the break, 12 for 29. So a nice 4-14 clip, and with a left-hander on the mound, he gets a start in right field. Chris Davis and Jace Peterson not in the lineup.
And he can pitch.
Just ask him. Last night he hung out with all the starters the entire game.
Wow, that's 2. So again, you know, you want to, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, you want the umpire to establish the strike zone. And it's going to be high. See, Adam just kind of smiled and gave him a double take. And it's only strike 1.
Chop to third. There's Profar. And he slings it across high, but there's Guzman, and the inning ends. So the 1-out double, 1 left. We head to the bottom of the first. Dylan Bundy goes to work. Each game in this series. Orioles get a double by Beckham but cannot score. It's to the bottom of the first, and here's the Rangers lineup. Profar, Odor, and Andrus with Beltre in the cleanup spot. Joey Gallo having some kind of a series, 4 for 9, a couple of home runs. He has a home run in each game and 4 RBIs. Karner Falefa will catch, then Guzman, Calhoun, and Tochi.
And Dylan Bundy, 4-pitch pitcher. And, the slider, probably the biggest swing and miss. Fastball so important because when he gets hurt on home runs, that's usually when the fastball's in the middle of the plate. Velocity has dropped a little bit as the season progresses. But again, leading the team with 7 wins. And then, very much like Mike Minor, when you get guys in scoring position, Minor at 213, Dylan at 214, so very low numbers. So pitched well in the clutch. You can see the righties only hitting 198. They hit 16 of the 26 home runs.
There is Profar to lead off. And up and away, 1-0, the fastball miss. Profar played in the first game of the series, did not get in last night.
And you can see 2 for 5. He hit a 3-run home run, really set the tone. Orioles scored first. He hit one that Andrew Kashner tried to run away, didn't get it away, and all of a sudden, Rangers are up 3-1 in the first.
And the 1-1 is fouled off. And 1-2 on Profar.
Well, the one thing about Dylan, when he's on his game, he's going to be able to get you out 4 different ways. It's a little bit different than a lot of young pitchers. Modern guys, they're going to try to go to your weakness the first time, but he can sliders and curveballs and change-ups, pitch in, pitch out.
That ball is cued, and it comes back fair. What a play by Caleb. He let it get fair, and then he gets his man. Smart play by Caleb Joseph.
Well, he knows because, took like 7 punches, balls off the dirt, and you name it last night. So there, let it go. Look at that backspin. Hey, look like you're on a billiards table. Texted him. I said, you went the distance, but you took a lot of punches last night. He goes, I enticed my entire body.
But he's right back in there tonight. There's Austin Wynns, who will likely catch tomorrow in the day game. And John Russell, the catching coach, calling Wynns aside to remind him about that play when you see balls with backspin. It's really good to see in-game coaching.
Well, it really is. And, you talk to a lot of scouts, and I was talking to Ben McDonald. He said that's the way they do it in college. But when you have a young team, why would it be any different? Maybe you may have played a AA, AAA. But this is the big leagues. It's a different league, and there'll be teachable moments that you come around. And that's one of them. Austin Wynns, a young catcher, boy, he's knowledgeable. He understands how important it is to catch, and I think he understands a little nuances.
Fastball paints the corner. Bundy in his 21st start, looking for his 8th win. And this is a challenging matchup for him, the way the Rangers are hitting the baseball.
Yeah, but if you're a confident guy, or not overconfident, but if you're confident, and Dylan is one of these guys that is very prepared. So it's a challenge. Dad's up from Oklahoma. Brother came with him, so Dad in person gets to see him pitch. That's always exciting. But he knows how to pitch, not throw. He knows how to pitch. Now, then he knows all I got to do is go out there and do it. That's the problem. Maybe. And that's the problem you face every time. People go, well, were you nervous? No, you're not nervous. But I think you're always, you're maybe a little anxious in the case because you just don't know how it's going to turn out. And this is a tough ballpark to pitch in.
Another foul ball as Odor prolongs the at-bat.
That's a perfect pitch down and in. I think that's where he's trying to go. And then because Odor, they was their player of the month, 30 for 88. We saw 5 walks, none intentional or unintentional. On the first night, along with a home run, and then the grand slam last night, which turned around the game.
And another foul ball.
If Donnie Hart comes in and is able to get him out, the whole game changes last night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out, it's not that David Hess pitched well, because he scrambled through the first 3, but in the 4th got into trouble, and then loaded him up, and you bring in, you match up with Donnie, and didn't get a good pitch, and Odor, to his credit, hit it out.
Well, back this way, so Odor stubborn at bat. Bundy now about to throw a 9th pitch to Odor, who in his last 6 games has 5 home runs and 10 RBIs. And he got him. Off speed, down and away.
Well, take a look at our Mercedes pitch cast that we talked about. Not a thrower. This is a pitcher. So all those pitches, and then he hadn't seen this one. That's the changeup. And he gets him to chase because you go, well, how do you swing the ball that low and away? Well, because he got fooled. If you can't pick up the timing, which is what you're trying to do when you're pitching, it's not always throwing it by him. That's how you get people out.
There's Andrus, the shortstop. Bundy thought that was a strike anyway, and they don't get the call on the appeal.
Take a look, and this is didn't swing.
Shows bunt to get Nunez moving. He takes ball 2. Well, Bundy last Sunday against Tampa Bay, 7 strong innings. He allowed 3 runs, all on solo home runs. C.J. Cron took him deep twice. Jake Bauers took him deep.
Take a look at the Oriole defense. Of course, you make trades. You also defensively have to come up with different people. So Rickard plays against lefty. He's in left. Jones, Valencia in right. Nunez, Beckham. Villar comes over from the Brewers. Mancini moves from left field to first base, as you mentioned. And Caleb Joseph back there.
That is a fair ball down the line. It hugged the line. Joey Rickard over there to pick it up. Looks like he got stuck by the tarpaulin. So there's a double with 2 down for Andrus, who now has a 15-game hitting streak.
Well, when healthy, and he broke his arm early on, and just a ground ball right over the bag. Gets the stool down there. Normally the ball people, they'll actually pick the stool up and get it out of the way. It's going to be a double anyway.
Yeah, it looked like the security guard did, but the ball girl did not. Now she has a story. Here's Beltre. And that gets through Caleb Joseph, and heading to third is Andrus.
I'll take a look, and it's a ball that Caleb will tell you I should have caught. Not easy. I mean, look how far outside of it. He just cut it off the plate, pulled it. I think you can just tell when you get a guy that's a pretty good catcher like Caleb as far as receiving the ball, and they just get fooled by the movement of the ball. He thought he was going to be able to, probably should have, if you look at it, he should have backhanded it, but didn't think he needed to until it kind of cut.
Waves at that pitch.
Yeah, Beltre, I mean, limited at bats, 0 for 7 lifetime. And this is a guy, clutch hitter, over 3,000 hits on his way to Cooperstown.
Well, Beltre was part of the ceremony honoring Vladimir Guerrero before the game. Vladimir enshrined in Cooperstown last Sunday. And when Guerrero was an Oriole in 2011, he became the all-time hits leader for a Dominican-born player. That record is now held by Beltre. Vladimir took over that spot in 2011 as an Oriole. Close pitch, he didn't get the call. Then Beltre passed him September of 2014, so 3 years later. And then Albert Pujols passed Vladimir in June of 2015. So Vladimir is now 3rd all time, but as an Oriole that 1 year he set that record. And Beltre now has 3,130 hits. Swing and a miss, he got him. So Beltre down on strikes. Bundy gets out of it, man left at 3rd, through 1, no score. since the All-Star break. And how about that batting average, Jim, at 308? They're scoring enough runs, they're slugging, they're getting on base, but the pitching has been a problem. Starters ERA 29th out of 30 teams, and the bullpen ERA at 5.16. That's 19th. So almost in the lower third.
Yeah, the bullpen certainly is in transition when O'Day goes on the DL and they get traded. Brock's with Atlanta, Britton's with the Yankees. Gibbons is struggling, but going to get an opportunity to right the ship over the last 7 weeks or so. So 19 home runs for Mike Minor. Come on, you right-handers, because what? 17 of them, of those 19, are again by the right-handed hitters. He dominates lefties. 225 batting average, 258, which is not high against the right-hander with the home run ball.
Yeah, there's only 2 left-handers who have gone deep against Mike Minor. Mike Moustakas, when he was still with Kansas City, a 2-run home run, and Josh Reddick with Houston, a 2-run home run. Bounces it in there. Trombone 1-2 the count.
Yeah, that's a little backdoor slider. You throw it pretty. If you get on top of it, and he usually does a pretty good job. He throws it for the inside corner and tries to hit that back foot, that right rear foot of Mark Trumbo, right-handed hitters.
Trumbo comes in with a 6-game hitting streak. Batting .280 in the 6 games.
Well, 3 RBIs went on Thursday night. Could have had 5, except for the Gallo grab down the right field line. He goes, I stopped thinking about why we're playing over there. It's like a changeup, yeah. He's got a pretty good changeup, and that or maybe a slider pulled it, but certainly it's down in the zone, and I think it's a straight change.
Trumbo thought it hit the ground, but as you see, it didn't. It was a nice play there by Kiner Falefa.
Well, you have to foul it off. I don't know if he hit that or not. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it hits the ground if you didn't foul it. Yeah.
That's why I think Trumbo looked that good. He thought he may have had a piece. Strike 1 to Mancini, playing at first base tonight. Ball's cued to the right of the mound. And out at first is Mancini, and 2 quick outs here in the Orioles' second. Our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, John Pastoric Jr. of Pasadena, has won $500 for being selected, and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit in the game tonight. You can play Home Run Rich and scratch-offs and win up to $50,000, or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Visit mdlottery.com/homerun. So 2 down. Here is Reato Nunez. And he is certainly settling in here, and that batting gym is really coming on. 11 hits, 7 doubles already for Nunez.
Well, that was in the end. That double hit over the head of Shane Robinson was in New York. I think he's proved to the league, if you're going to pitch him out over the plate, he's going to have good swings. So we're going to see change-ups. We're going to see.
It's becoming a trend.
Well, that, Beltry, if you watched him, if you looked at him. Nope, didn't swing. Just in case you didn't get it right, I'll help you.
Well, Nunez has a 4-game hitting streak, and he's had multi-hit games in his last 3 games. He's 8 for 17 during the streak, and his batting average, as you saw now as an Oriole, 306, so he's above 300 as an Oriole. Just gets a piece.
Oh, that's that changeup. Well, that'll be what will happen is, Minor going, well, let's see if he can get my fastball, and he didn't. Well, that sets up the changeup as long as you make a good pitch. And then in his back pocket, he's got a knuckle curveball and that slider, that back foot slider. See where Falefa goes, you can kind of tell what pitch it is. Yep, there's the slider. He moves in. That's, well, once again, inside corner, and just kind of bury it to the back foot and hope that a young hitter to chase it. Make him dance a little bit. And that's when the changeup comes into play the other side of the plate.
2-2 with 2 down. Right back to Minor. He gloves and he'll get Nunez in a 3-up, 3-down inning. So Minor retires the side in order as the O's go 3-up, 3-down. Bundy ranks, these are his personal numbers against the Texas Rangers, and as Jim told you, brief appearances, but he has dominated the Rangers franchise.
Yep. Well, again, and he's never really pitched here as a starter. A couple of relief. You know, all the starts have been in Baltimore, Camden Yards. You know, sometimes it's just a fact. You know, didn't grow up that far, but about 250 miles from here in Oklahoma. Or it's a matchup, or the fact you're good. Or all of the above.
I'll go with that. He's good. So is Joey Gallo, especially with the long ball. Now, 28 home runs. He's tied for 5th in the American League. Broken bat. That ball's trouble. And back on it to make the play nicely is Nunez in the shift. Wow.
Well, you got to get a good read, and of course it's right off his fist. Great angle right here. I mean, literally off the hands. Never takes his eye off it. As we saw him fall down on a pop-up last night. The wind does blow here, and if it didn't, it would really be hot. It's actually pretty pleasant when you don't have a lot of humidity, and we don't have that. It's a pretty pleasant place to pitch in Dallas because of the breeze.
Isaiah Kiner Falefa, he takes ball 1. 23-year-old rookie from Honolulu. Yeah, the flags here never stop blowing.
And you look at him, you go, well, sometimes it goes straight in, but the ball flies out of here. And I don't know if it actually comes back from the ballpark and then shoots it out. Remember Scott Coolbaugh, the hitting instructor, was telling us
there's a base hit.
You know, telling us that they actually put a club in here. Otherwise, it really used to shoot out to right center field. It seems to me it's blowing pretty well anyway. And the ball carries about as well as anybody.
And with the very high upper deck, I'm sure it swirls around a little bit. So a 1-out single, second base hit for Texas. Here's Ronald Guzman. Comes in at 237. Here's another 23-year-old rookie. Signed with the Rangers out of the Dominican Republic when he was 16 years old back in 2011. Made his big league debut in April.
For a ton of money. Almost $3.5 million. So he's one of the bigger bonuses. Actually, the right fielder, when healthy, was there. He almost got 5.95 million. So, you know, both left-handed hitters, both young. Is Mizar. Hurt his thumb actually diving for a ball in Baltimore. glove hand, right thumb.
2-0 as the fastball misses.
Well, Guzman a little bit taller. They're both tall. And Guzman, of course, he had a grand slam, in Baltimore in the 4-0 lead. They would actually lose that game. But he can look pretty much fastball here. I don't know if he'll get it. I would think this would be a changeup count. And it was. He missed though with it. And you would think that he would get the green light here. Yeah, if you're Jeff Bannister, hey, he gets a fastball. Might be the best pitch he gets to hit.
Strike at the knees. He flipped the bat. He thought it was ball 4.
So you could see Mike Estabrook, big strike zone. We saw the high strike call in the first inning, and then that one was somewhere around the knees. He thought it was low.
Three and two. Now, Kiner Falefa, for a catcher, is good speed because he didn't come up as a catcher, at least in the pro ball. He was an infielder, still could play second base, but he has 7 steals.
Yeah, he really didn't steal that many. Well, 17 last year at AA Frisco. And of course, if you look at the numbers,
this will be tough to turn 2. Nobody at second base anyway, so Beckham takes the sure out.
Okay, Orioles fan, it's game time. Time to get up and start your day. So get up, get going, and put today in the win column.
The Orioles host the Red Sox Friday, August 10th through Sunday, August 12th. And on Sunday, August 12th, all fans 14 and under receive an Orioles retro talking alarm clock presented by United Concordia Dental and featuring, as you just heard, a Joe Angel wake-up call. For your tickets, visit Orioles.com. Beckham sneaking in behind Falefa, who moved up on that bouncer. That's one of the problems with moving the infielders all over the place. VR was not in double play depth, so he couldn't get over. I don't think they would have turned 2 anyway, but they might have been able to get the lead runner. But he was too far away to even make an attempt to get to second base because he was playing against Guzman's strength to pull the ball.
or pretty much straight away. And the last thing you want with less than 2 outs, which is not the case now, is a ground ball hit to your left into right field, because in this ballpark you're going to third base. Then the fly ball gets the running. So I used to turn around and tell my second baseman, just get one. Because normally they come in and then a little bit over. Now it changes now because of all the, the abrupt shifts that came through. But they were talking maybe because we don't have Scope and Machado, or Hardy and Machado at third, maybe not shift as much.
On foul back this way.
Yeah, to get in this booth, he's going to have to really backspin it.
We're a little ways away. Good vantage point to call a game.
Already a couple of balls are in the mezzanine right below us. Right where these great sandwiches are from. Hamburgers, quesadillas.
Your favorite. Skied to right, not that deep. In fact, second baseman VR is going to grab it. The wind got it. So a base hit, 1 left through 2, no score.
Happy birthday to the United States Coast Guard. We are grateful for the everyday sacrifices of the men and women who serve.
true moment later in tonight's game. Globe Life Park, which after next year will no longer host Major League Baseball. They are building Globe Life Field right next to Globe Life Park.
Well, it'll open what, in 2021?
No, they're going to be in there 2020.
Yeah.
And there's the Cowboys Stadium in the distance.
Yeah, one of the writers in Dallas Morning News said sarcastically, and the new stadium will be ready in 2026 because this one isn't that old.
Right. And they're going to convert this property. They're not going to tear it down. Joey Rickard shows bunt and he takes a strike. Estabrook said it hit the corner. Joey's really swinging the bat well. Getting a start against the left-hander. Skied to left center field. In on it is Calhoun. And he's got it for the out and one down. Well, here are the splits on Mike Minor, and what's interesting about this, Jim, this is no doubt about it a hitter's ballpark, and look at the ERA, better at home than on the road.
Well, the one thing about Mike Minor, and I'm sure that's why they gave him the 3-year deal that you talked about, is that he can pitch a little bit. You talked, and I think the fact that he was a reliever last year goes back to when he was a starter with Atlanta. You know, you have your scouts, they're looking at him, they're going, well, you can always use a left-hander in your starting repertoire, and you know, the matter starters, he already had Hamels. Figured maybe they would not be a contending team this year. He may leave, which he did. He was traded to the Cubs. Martin Perez, you never know. He seems to have health problems in and out. Broke his elbow. He'll pitch tomorrow, you know, and whatever. So you're always looking for people, and they got him what they think is a reasonable price. And he knows how to pitch. So if you know how to pitch, you can get weak contact. We've already seen 5 of the first 6 outs on changeup.
On the line, but foul.
Well, he's going to change speeds. He doesn't, you know, he can throw 93, 94 on occasion, but he can pitch.
He was Atlanta's first-round draft pick in 2009 and was number 7 overall. He pitched in college at Vanderbilt. And while at Vanderbilt, as he is to Caleb, it's outside, he was teammates with Pedro Alvarez, David Price, and Ryan Flaherty. And all 3 of those college teammates became first-round picks. Ball and 2 strikes on Caleb. And he got him.
Yeah, there's 95, and that's what we saw out of the bullpen in Kansas City. Arm got well, labrum healed. So they know he can throw 95, and when you start and you have a feel for pitching, you can add him, subtract. We've already seen him do that through the first innings here. It's never easy, but it certainly becomes less difficult if you don't have to throw the ball by everybody. Bucker was talking, trying to tell David Hess, says, hey, it's not how hard you throw. You know who's hitting. Hit the glove, make your pitch, take your chances. And I think Minor's learned that through, not only the fact that, he was a starting pitcher, but also when you hurt your arm, sometimes you don't throw as well. So what do? You learn to pitch, maybe even more so.
That was pretty interesting. Buck Showalter today sat down with David Hess and watched on the video every single pitch from last night's game.
Well, he was trying to make a point. And, of course, Roger McDowell, the pitching coach, was there. And, Buck was saying, listen, I don't usually tell people this because I usually do it all the time. He just wanted them to understand what transpired last night. Even when he got through the first 3 innings, he talked about the double error in the first that gave him a run. He said, well, that's because your windup, you fall off. If you have a better windup, you would have caught that ball easily. You would have gone into the 4th inning with a 1-0 lead instead of having it tied. And then he would say, okay, here's the glove, where'd the ball go? And then he tried, and David's a smart kid. Why does that happen? Try to overthrow. So make your pitch. Maybe he said, I'd rather have you throw 90 than trying to throw 94 because it's not working. And we'll see if that makes a difference.
Yeah, and Buck told us after the game that he doesn't mind a player wanting it as badly as David does, but as you just pointed out, sometimes it's counterproductive to your success.
Well, you grip the ball and you're grunting.
Having play there by Profar. He slings it across and he takes a base hit away from Jonathan Villar. O's go 3 up, 3 down for a second straight inning. Mid-third, no score. the day. And by the University of Maryland Medical Center, be a part of something. Just outside of Dallas in Arlington, Texas, no score. As the pitchers are settling in, Bundy back to work. There's a lot of base hit in each inning, but no runs. Here's Carlos Tocci, the number 9 batter. Profar on deck, and then Odor. Tocci's going to get a lot more playing time because Delino DeShields went back on the DL today. It's the concussion DL, so a 7-day DL. He was scratched last night with a headache. He tried to make a diving catch in Boston just before the Rangers got to Baltimore before the All-Star break. And they're calling it whiplash syndrome because he landed very hard and still having the effects, so they decided to play it safe, and he's back on the concussion DL. And there's a 3-pitch strikeout.
Well, welcome to the big leagues. Rule 5 guy, high fastball, can't get it. And then a series of 2 of the good as breaking balls that Bundy can throw, and that's the 3rd one. It just freezes him.
Third baseman, Jurickson Profar.
The 3rd strikeout already for Bundy, 1 down. Dillon has retired the leadoff hitter in each now the first 3 innings. Here's Profar, who with that little squib that Caleb allowed to spin back fair, and he got him at first. Profar has been in the Rangers organization his entire career. Just inside, 1-1. He is from Curacao, where Jonathan Scope was from.
Yeah, I mean, he was really a top prospect, and then a shoulder injury, switch hitter. He played just about anywhere. Probably would have been a guy, I don't know if he would have been like Scopey, where he did 32 home runs, but certainly nowadays, maybe, what, 18 to 30, somewhere in there. Jonathan hit 32 last year. But we saw that he popped. I mean, you make a mistake outside middle, and he can pull it, he can hit it for power, and then he can hit from both sides of the plate.
And off the glove of Beckham. Nearly a tremendous play as he went up for it.
Well, that ball hit very, very hard. Little breaking ball that hangs and makes it a little bit easier to hit it. He's playing up the middle. 102 miles per hour, and there's the hanger, and then nice play. Almost deflected it straight up in the air and corralled it. It's Texas term. Corralled it. I'm going to wrangle me some outs.
You've been studying up on the local lingo?
I don't need to. Susan, you know.
Your lovely wife is a
big hat, no
Texas
cattle.
girl.
Yeah, an Andy. Me and Andy.
And your grandchildren are Texans.
Huh?
Your grandchildren.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the
Little lunch
the
today.
gang you saw today.
The Munchkins.
Ball 1 to Odor. In his last start last Sunday when he beat Tampa Bay, 7 strikeouts and no walks in that game. That is certainly a combination for success. So far tonight, 3 Ks and no walks. The Rangers have scored the most runs in the major league since the All-Star break, 99. And they've also hit more home runs than any team, 27. So far, lead off first.
Well, they lost 11 out of 13 before the break, and then 6 out of 7 in the win column since the break. He was talking to Jeff Bannister, who we just showed. He said, hey, listen, you know, he said, I hate the word rebuilding because I was in Pittsburgh and we were rebuilding. We had 5-year plans. He said, I would rather transition. He said, and the reason he said is, and he said, trying to do the same things, but when you're rebuilding, he said, you don't want guys to think you don't have to win. You don't have to play winning baseball. So the word transition is what they're doing here.
And they still have veteran players like Odor, who's not even that old, but
well, he's 24.
He's already in his 5th season, and he's signed for 2022, so you can build around a guy like him.
With an option for 2023. I mean, Profar is young. I mean, a lot of young guys. Well, Beltre's old, but still can play like a young guy at age 39.
Just off the plate. Well, Hesterbrook very stingy on the corners.
Yeah, I was talking to Anthony Iaposi, their hitting instructor. I said, so he looks like Odor's eye, not because of the 5 walks, just looks like he's swinging at more strikes. And he said, yeah, and they're sometimes his strike. So 3 and 1, he can look for whatever he wants to. He can look fastball out over the plate, or a change up. He can look soft because he doesn't have to worry about strike 2. I mean, this is a guy that, they give $49 million. You talked about that 6-year deal, and he had a lot of home runs last year, but batting average was 204, on base 26%. He's gotten a lot better. But even there,
a little short.
I'm telling you,
we're going to get one.
But that's ball 4, and if you bring it down maybe 4 inches, it becomes very hittable. But by chasing it, you get Dylan back into the count. So the one thing about Dylan Bundy, they can run a little bit. I mean, 14 out of 16. It's not a steal. You can just start your runner. I mean, Tovar can start. You get one up the gap. This is a big ballpark. Easy to score from first base.
Tovar runs, and it's outside, ball 4. So first and second with 1 down in this scoreless game. Game of Thrones returns to Oriole Park on Tuesday, August 14th. You can choose between 2 special ticket packages with both options, including a Game of Thrones bobblehead. Learn more about each special ticket package and purchase today at Orioles.com/Game of Thrones. So first and second, and 1 down, and here's Elvis Andrus, who maybe is the hottest hitter in the major leagues right now with a 15-game hitting streak. He extended that to 15 with a double in the first. Past the mound, there's VR. He'll step on second and sling it to first for the double play, and that'll do it. Bundy got out of the way, so a nice job. The double play ends the third. No score in Texas. For Toyota, what drives you? Visit buyatoyota.com for great deals. Well, that looks interesting. Now that is a cabal.
Texas.
That's
So
is that the boomstick?
Yeah, I think a boomstick. That's
so they're preparing all the vegetables for the boomsticks.
I think that's onions and
That's a pretty interesting grill. I'm on TV. First fan here in Texas. Tim Beckham leads off against Mike Minor. Tim doubled in the first inning. He now has a 4-game hitting streak, looking for a 3rd straight multi-hit game. Since the All-Star break, he came in batting .327, so his stroke certainly has come around. Shows bunt, pulls the bat back.
And because of the count, Profar might even come in a step or two at 3rd. Well, this is the type of game where you can be creative. You know, if you're a player or if you're a manager, you know, nothing game. The Royals were down, what, 8-1, 10-1 on Thursday night. So, not to be too creative, just get a lot of home runs. Caleb Joseph hit one, Trumbo hit one, but tonight, hey, get on, score a run, take the lead.
3-1.
Yeah, if you were a Texas pitcher the first 2 nights, there was one pitch wasn't going to mean a whole lot because they got you so many runs. A little bit different. Every pitch means something here for Mike Minor.
Borderline pitch. He got the call, so a full count. Adam Jones waits on deck. And behind Adam is Danny Valencia tonight. Popped up. Second baseman Odor has it. And puts it away for the out. And one away here in the Oriole 4th inning. Don't forget the New York Mets will visit Oriole Park August 14th and 15th. And on August 15th, that's a Wednesday, all fans receive an Orioles Maryland State t-shirt. For your tickets, Orioles.com.
Speaking of the Mets, Kevin Gausman got his first start in the National League. Trailing the Mets 2-0, pitched 6 innings. Pitched well. Zach Wheeler pitched 5 innings, actually 6 hits, 2 runs, a couple of walks, a couple of strikeouts. Zach Wheeler pitching better.
Yeah, Kevin Gausman's been in New York all week. Arrived with the Orioles on Monday night on the day off. Reported to Yankee Stadium on Tuesday, found out he was traded. And the Braves were going to begin that series in New York on Thursday night. So the Atlanta organization told him, we'll just stay there, and all you have to do is move from the Orioles hotel to the Braves hotel, which he did. So 5 innings tonight, 2 runs on 6 hits for Gausman. Adam grounded out his first at bat. Right center field, playable for Tochi. And it finally comes down, and 2 men down and the fly ball out. Our PNC Minor League Insights brought to you by PNC. There's no better time to act than today. PNC, make today the day. Well, how about last night for Bowie, beating Reading 6-1. There's Dean Kramer. He got the win. 5 outstanding innings, no runs, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. Zach Pop, he came back in one of the trades. 2 innings, no runs. Yusniel Diaz, he went 2 for 3 with a couple of doubles, 2 runs. And Ryland Bannon also came from the Dodgers, 1 for 3 with a walk and an RBI. So 4 of the players acquired in the flurry of trades, helping Bowie to a win last night. Kramer is 2-0 in 3 starts. Pop already has 8 strikeouts in 7 innings. Diaz in his last 5 games is batting .412 with a home run and 3 RBIs. And Bannon now has hit in 3 straight games with 4 RBIs.
Oh, that's great. You know, Diaz is supposed to be the centerpiece of the. Better go. Not running. Doesn't make you look good.
You know, 3 up, 3 down, and 3rd straight inning, the side has been retired in order. By Navy Federal Credit, proudly serving the armed forces, veterans and their families for over 80 years, federally insured by NCUA. And by DynCorp, we serve today for a better tomorrow. The Coast Guard is one of America's 5 armed forces and traces its roots to August 4th of 1790. And we'd like to thank all of you serving in our armed forces for all your dedication to protecting the safety and the security of the United States of America. On one on the foul ball to Beltre. That was, I'm going to try to get out of the way, sort of.
Well, the minute he sees slow curveball, he knows if he got hit right in the middle of the backfield, he knows that's not going to hurt as much as Thursday night. You notice how he got the hands and the wrist out.
Good looking breaking ball there. It was a really nice ceremony the Rangers did before the game for Vladimir Guerrero. The Beltre part of it. They had Bartolo Colon, of course, both from the Dominican Republic, and Ivan Rodriguez, who was also in the Hall of Fame and had so many great years. There's Vladdy, came in and stopped by the dugout. Of course, played his final. There's Pudge. Backhanded by Nunez. Was high and airmails it into the crowd.
Yeah, and caught by a fan. So the question will be, now did the fan reach over the dugout wall?
The facade.
Yeah, the facade, because otherwise the ball might have been in play. The fan caught it on the air. I think they're looking at whether he actually interfered. I mean, a great play. Apparently, it's going to stand. So great play, bad throw. So take a look, and there it is. And I thought that ball, you know, the ball actually is below the wall. So it is fan interference, and of course the umpires would place the runner.
So Beltre reaches on the error by Nunez, his second as an Oriole. StatCast AI powered by AWS. And there's the percentages of ground balls hit by the batter Gallo. See the shift on as well.
Well, like we said last year, I mean, he had 32 base hits, one ball left, and he hit one off the end of the bat the other night, and it snuck into left field, going about 4 miles per hour, right off the end of the bat.
The leadoff man in scoring position because of the error. That was an easy play for Nunez, and he airmailed the throw. Foul the other way.
And if you're Dylan Bundy, you're going to try to pitch your way out of this. And how do you do that? Well, you got a strikeout guy at the plate, and you're in a position to do it. Try to hit, make it, you know, he wants. Well, in the old days, you would want to hit a ball to the right side. Now that's why they're playing the shift. But will he cut his swing down to actually hit a roller or a ground ball and get the runner to third in a 0-0 game?
The Orioles have Beckham on the left side, so he stays close to his position at shortstop. Nunez, the third baseman, you see shading towards the middle on the second base side, and there's VR out there in shallow right field with Mancini deep with no one on at first. The 1-2 is ripped to right field. Will it stay fair? That is a home run. A line drive home run right down the line, and 2-0 Texas in the fourth. Gallo is now homered in 3 straight games.
Well, was that a bullet? Well, you'll never see a reaction from Dylan Bundy, but that was a 1-2 pitch. And that is some exit velocity right there, 113. It's on the line, that's why it only went 402 feet. But I just don't, it's almost like they didn't really move to any particular part of the plate. It wasn't up and in, it was, the target was in the middle of the plate, and that's where the ball ended, and it becomes obviously very hittable.
Well, coming into the game today, here are the numbers. The most runs allowed via a home run, Dylan Bundy 43. He's added 2 more to that. And the highest percentage of runs, 66.2% coming in. That number will go up. Orioles now have allowed home runs. Their pitching staff has in 7 consecutive games. There's another base hit.
Well, you mentioned about the Rangers scoring more runs than anybody since the All-Star break, and you're seeing why. If you make a good pitch, you can probably get them out. If you don't, and that was a hanging breaking ball, they're going to hit it hard or soft, because that's what Falafa does. You know, he doesn't overswing. It was interesting. You talked about the fact he was a middle infielder or an infielder coming through the minor leagues. I asked him today, I said, why, how long you been catching? 2 years. Why? He goes, because we had phenoms. We had, you know, some of our highest prospects were infielders. I had to learn some way to get to the big leagues.
So another foul ball finds Caleb Joseph.
That's the third. 2 last night. Right now, another one. Last night got hit on what, the left hand, right leg, underneath the neck.
Runner goes, pitch is taken, Caleb's throw, the tag is out at second base.
Yeah, what a great throw and what a great release. They talk about the pop-up time. That's by the time you get it and you pop up and get the ball to your infielder. This time it's Chris. I mean, look how quick that is, and it's up the line a little bit so you can drop the tag on the shoulder. It's kind of becoming vogue now. You almost want to throw it about 18 inches to 2 inches to 2 feet to the right of the bag. Well, Beckham gets there in plenty of time, slaps it on the shoulder, and you're out.
Well, Bobby Dickerson has been working with Beckham on a number of defensive things, including tagging. That's perfect.
And we saw him, the first night hold the tag on a potential double. And Tochi did it, and you got another out that way.
A little late on the fastball there.
Well, he's got a big swing. And it looks to me, not that he can't hit a mistake or whatever up, but he could run the ball up and in. I'm not sure if he can get to it.
And VR has the soft line drive for the second out. Fans, you can visit @MASSON on Twitter to enter to win a meet and greet with Buck Showalter, presented by Hilton Hotels. For Hilton Best of Baltimore package, visit masson.me/HiltonBAL. This one's hit right to VR, and it gets past his glove. It skipped on past him. So Calhoun will reach with 2 down and a somewhat sloppy defensive inning here. That one skipped on.
Well, again, it's not an easy play. You know, does side saddle it because that's the easiest way to play it. But you're that far out, and the ball did skip. I would imagine if he scored it in, but either way, he gets on with 2 outs.
And the error allowing Beltre to reach was a routine play to begin the inning, and Beltre scored.
Well, it's just extra pitches. Rolls their lineup over.
It appears they have scored that a hit. Bundy trying to get out of this inning and keep it to a 2-run inning. are hoping Bundy can pick him up.
And Calhoun, at least coming up through the minor leagues, he's never really stolen many bases. He's a home run guy. Very kind of tiny but powerful. You mentioned Calhoun from hometown of C.C. Sabathia of Vallejo. You ever been there? It's right on the way from Sacramento into San Francisco on Highway 80. Good place to stop for snacks.
Oh, is that right?
And dips.
Yeah. 1-2. And he got him. Breaking ball gets Tochi, who was struck out for a second time. 2-run home run by Gallo. 2-0 Texas. University College. Well, it was on this date back in 1996 that managers Earl Weaver and Ned Hanlon and Kentucky Congressman, former big league pitcher Jim Bunning, Negro League star Bill Foster, all were inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And of course, Ned Hanlon, or Foxy Ned, player manager 1876 to 1914. And among the things he's been given credit for, he incorporated baseball's first regular use of plays like the hit and run, the sac bunt, suicide squeeze, double steal. And he was the one, legend has it, that invented the Baltimore chop that Wee Willie Keeler made famous. And Ned Hanlon in the Hall of Fame.
Good field here to, well, not for maybe Mark Trumbo, but this is a Baltimore chop field, very hard. We'd like to elevate one like we did on Thursday night.
Wee Willie Keeler chopped the ball in front of the plate. Trumbo goes the other way. There's a nice piece of hitting. That's how you extend the hitting streak to 7 straight. And a leadoff single here in the 5th. We invite you to join fellow students, alumni, and supporters for University Nights at Oriole Park. Fans purchasing a University Night ticket package will receive a unique Orioles cap featuring the participating school's colors and logos. Caps are limited, so be sure to reserve your seats now. Orioles.com/university. Trey Mancini, double play ball. Odor to Andrews, back to first, just like that. The base is empty, 2 down.
Yeah, you got a good at bat by Mark Trumbo, and then minor. I mean, he hasn't really pitched in all night long, so you can look away. And it looks like Trey didn't get fooled. He gets a lot of the first 5 of the first 6 outs on changeup, and just a routine ground ball because he's playing right up the middle. So 1 pitch, 2 outs. And what the Orioles had in mind, trailing by 2.
Here's Renato Nunez, hit a comebacker his first at bat. strike at the knee, zone 1. Orioles got Nunez from these Texas Rangers earlier in the year on a waiver claim. Faced a bad pitch there. That one bounced.
Well, that's a book on him. And again, coming up through the minor leagues. Also played with Oakland last year. I mean, a lot of home runs. Good power. Will occasionally have those spells where he really does track the ball well, but much better fastball hitter. See Falafa saying, okay, where do you want to go? Veteran pitcher, young catcher.
Open in with the fastball.
Just in case you're sitting on that changeup down and away, a reminder. Well, you're lucky when you don't hit someone because most hitters do that. Look at all the protection he has on his left arm. It's like you're a gladiator. I don't think hitters, if you couldn't protect that front side, especially the elbow and whatever, I don't know if hitters would be diving as much.
2-2 on Nunez. Strike 3 call, the fastball right there. The 3-batter inning, mid-5th, 2-0 Texas. We're celebrating Vladimir Guerrero's Hall of Fame career. He was inducted last Sunday, and there he is as an Oriole in 2011. His last year in the major leagues, he spent in Baltimore and had a real good season. 163 hits that year, 13 home runs. Career stats, 318 average, 449 the home runs. Look at the RBIs, almost 1,500. 2,147 games, won the AL MVP back in 2004 as a member of the Angels. There's a ground ball to Nunez, taking his time, and a quick out here as Profar's retired and won away. 9 times an All-Star, 8-time a Silver Slugger Award. He played in Montreal from 1996 through 2003, and then went to the Angels as a free agent in 2004. Played with the Angels through 2009, then Texas 2010, and with the Orioles in 2011.
Yeah, with the Angels. Well, it's a nice little year. You hit 337, you hit 39 home runs, you drive in 126 runs, and then you throw in 39 doubles in your first year. Imagine if you're, I don't know who the general manager might have been, Bill Stoneman back then. You got to be pretty happy, don't you?
He had 4 200-hit seasons.
I thought, I was looking up some of the, I was there on Sunday when he got inducted. And of course, he got the biggest hand of applause from the Hall of Famers because he didn't have a speech. He got up. It was very quick. And Jose Mota did the interpreting, but I mean, he just got up and spoke from his heart. And not that the other one didn't, but they weren't written. And then after the, you always go back to the Otisaka Hotel, which is where the, once again, Caleb getting winged. Boy, what a couple of nights. But anyway, you go back to the hotel and they give you the Hall of Fame rings. So everybody goes up and gets the ring, and the guys are yelling once again. That's twice last night, twice tonight. And everybody's going, speech, speech, speech. English, 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 right? So Pedro Martinez pushes them up there. Thank you very much. It was classic.
Well, that's a speech.
It was.
Yeah, I saw him play in 1996 for AA Harrisburg against the Trenton Thunder at the time. Trenton Thunder in New Jersey, AA team. He was in the Eastern League. And you could see even then, back in 1990, eventually he was a September call-up that year, and there he is with the group on the field throughout the first pitch. He was so much better than every other player on the field. It almost looked like it was a dad playing against his son's team.
Well, that's kind of what they say about his,
was.
his son Junior's coming up. Vlad Junior's with Toronto. Just got called up to AAA. I would imagine they'll bring him to the big leagues when they can maybe control the clock. But very similar, maybe not quite as tall, but certainly a great young player. Yeah, and I was saying, he never won a Gold Glove, but he could throw. Boy, what an arm he had.
And sometimes you do have an opportunity to see a player on the way up. And he was a September call-up, and then my first year with the Orioles in '97, of course, spring training that was in Fort Lauderdale. The Expos were in West Palm Beach, and we got to see him play in spring training. And there's a base hit for Rougned Odor, and a one-out single here in the fifth.
Well, I talked about that in the opening.
Well, the Orioles host the Yankees August 24th through the 26th, and for each game, fans are encouraged to bring any non-perishable food item or cash donation to the ballpark, all to benefit the Maryland Food Bank. It's part of the 32nd annual Orioles Reach Food and Funds Drive, presented by Masson WJZ TV and Pompeian Olive Oil. For tickets, Orioles.com. As you were saying?
Well, I was talking about in the opening. I was talking to Felipe Alou, who managed that team, and Scotty Garrett, and he's talking, he's hitting balls over the lighthouse, or the light towers, and Felipe's saying he climbed the trees in front because he's such a good kid, and then he broke his foot that day. The Scotty Erickson pitch. And the great sinker fouled the ball down, so he missed some time, and the 447 home runs could have even been more.
We did that game on radio that day. I remember that.
And he could play, and he could flat out hit.
Odor runs, swinging a tapper to third. Nunez has to hurry, and a perfect throw to get him back to third, and out at third base is Odor. And there's a double play, nicely done there by Nunez and Mancini. And Beckham got in the cover. So Nunez gets it started, throws on the run to get the runner at first. Mancini, a perfect throw back to Beckham to apply the tag. Texas goes down in the fifth. leaders to support Baltimore City's Youth Works program, which seeks to provide as many as 12,000 Baltimore City youth with summer employment. Now, to donate, visit BaltimoreCityFoundation.org and choose Mayor's Office of Employment Development Youth Works. And to learn more, visit youthworks.oedworks.com.
So Odor runs himself out of an inning and already in scoring position. An active aggression, but in a 2-0 game.
And kudos to Beckham for getting in there to cover.
Mancini made a great throw. Seemed like the right play, but you already got the second out. In this ballpark where everybody plays deep, it's very difficult not to score on a single. And second, when you can run like he can, he just got overamped.
Ricker down on strikes. That strikeout number 4 for Mike Minor, and 1 away.
Yeah, not a great changeup, but it just moves enough. And Joey, a really good fastball hitter, and he swings right through it. The key to this, he's just got to hit. Wait, and you could see him. He just let the ball travel, just couldn't get it.
Minor this year averaging about 7.5 strikeouts per game. They love a swing and a miss. Caleb in his last 18 games batting at a .323 clip. 20 hits in those 18 games. That's a good looking breaking ball there.
Well, he stays right on the third base side of the rubber, so he has a perfect angle in the inside corner to a right-handed hitter. And so he can run it away, and so he's way over on the third base side, so he can run that slider in, run the changeup right to where the glove is there. There's a fastball at 94. But he's done a nice job of pitching to both sides of the plate. It makes it more difficult to look into one area. And then almost impossible when you get to 2 strikes. And there's a changeup. Great arm action on the changeup. So 87, it's really only about 5 miles per hour slower, but the movement and the location. You see that ball's off the plate by what? Almost 8 inches, but the spin, he almost turned it over like a screwball.
Caleb 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. 3 consecutive strikeouts for Minor. And he now has 5 in the game. There's Jonathan Villar. He's flied out and grounded out. Reaches forward and fouls it off.
You're right. That's a great term. He reaches for it because it's a change. Talk about a guy that's established his changeup in the first 2 innings, 5 of the first 6 outs. And perfect team to do it. The world's much better fastball hitters than off-speed hitters.
Mike Minor is from Chapel Hill, Tennessee. 51 big league wins. Came through that tremendous Vanderbilt program in the SEC. They've also been pretty generous for Minor this year. 5.30 the run support.
They're pretty much exactly what they've gotten for Bill and Bundy. They mirror that. I mean, runner and scoring position numbers almost the same. Run support the same. Record a little bit different.
Chopper foul.
See that ball over. Cutter in on his fist. So in and out. A little bit extra on the fastball. Take a little bit off with the changeup. And the other thing, you just don't see as many lefties.
Retired 15 of the last 16 batters. And a little game going on here between Minor and VR. Here's a chopper towards first. This is going to be a tough play. Guzman to the pitcher Minor. He got there just ahead of the head first slide. So a 3-up, 3-down inning, mid-6th in Texas, 2-0 Rangers.
Backspin on the ball. Caleb pounces on it. There you go. And then the good defense right here. Villar, double play. Palapa tries to steal. And then this gets him out of the last inning right here. Watch the throw from Mancini across the diamond. Nice tag by Beckham. And that's the end of the 5th inning. But the score, 2-0 Rangers. Geico, 15 minutes to save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
So Bundy back to work. He gets ahead of Beltre 0-1. Beltre, the key play so far in this game, he got on a throwing error by Nunez, and then Gallo came up and hit a 2-run home run. And a swing on the check swing.
Now a 1-2 pitch.
Backs him off the plate. Even though Bundy won his start last Sunday against Tampa Bay, he's probably not too sorry July's over. He had a tough month overall. His ERA in his 4 starts in July was 8.38, which was interesting because in June he pitched to an ERA of 1.98. Going 3-0 in 4 starts in June. Line to right field. Right there's Valencia. And Danny's got it for the out and 1 away. You can enhance your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets, enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Here is Gallo with the bases empty. Gallo has homered now in 3 straight games, in 4 of his last 6, and in 5 of his last 9 games. And he has 7 home runs and 14 RBIs since the All-Star break.
Well, he's the type of hitter. He's very much like Chris Davis. They strike out a lot. Of course, he's much younger. But when he makes contact, and again, uppercut swing, 41 home runs, as we mentioned last year. I mean, anytime you get, what, 18 doubles, 3 triples, 41 home runs, and only 94 hits, you know, not a lot of singles. And that part of that is because he doesn't hit the ball left field, and they put the shift on. Does that remind you of Chris a little bit? Mm-hmm. Go back a couple of years. Realize he's as agile as he was. He's played right field pretty well for him.
Well, Joey Gallo and Joey Rickard attended the same high school, Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas. And they are both here in the game tonight. There's Joey starting in left field. It's pretty interesting that you have two major league players that attended the same high school playing in the same game. Just outside.
Didn't he come from Chris Bryant, of course, for the Cubs, comes from that area. Bryce Harper, Las Vegas guy, kid, young man.
Marty Cordova also went to that high school. I think Bryce and Bryant went to different high schools.
But I think they played all.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, they all,
summer leagues.
Yeah,
and,
right, exactly.
Oh, yeah, that was a hotbed.
Literally and figuratively.
Never been there.
Vegas in the summer?
I've never been to Vegas, period.
Well, nice hotels, great entertainment if you like to gamble. Any of that opportunity. Nice golf courses. Lake Mead not too far away.
3-2 pitch, call it, strike three on the outside corner. So Bundy gets a call. That's strikeout number 5.
Well, Joey's already headed back to the dugout. He saw the strike zone in the first inning, and Caleb does a nice shot, softly, deftly thrown right on the corner or somewhere close to it. Probably a little bit off. A little bit like the Danny Valencia fastball or his strikeout.
There's kind of Falefa. Fastball's high. Count starting him out 97 as he works here in the 6th.
Well, one of those games because of how well Mike Minor and Knowles didn't get Beckham in after the double. Every pitch has meant so much.
Beckham is really heating up at the plate. Here's a strike. The old automatic 3-1.
Well, he hit a couple of home runs in Houston, so you get into these counts. That's when you want to throw a strike, which he did. And that's when you can get a guy get the bat and get a little bit quicker.
Well, run support has certainly been the story with Bundy this year, and we broke it down, as Jim mentioned, 5.46. That's his run support for the season. That's 8th in the American League, but you have to go within the numbers. In his 7 wins, his run support is 10.05, and in the other 13 starts, 2.15. That's just amazing, the breakdown. So when they score for him, because he usually pitches well, or well enough, he has had some inconsistencies this year, but when you get him that kind of run support, 10 runs a game, you're going to win a lot of games as Paul Fry begins to get loose.
Well, there were 2 spells for Dillon. Right? He tried to pitch through a groin injury, and that was what, late April. Gave up 8-7. Didn't get an out against Kansas City. Gave up 7 runs, so ERA up went dramatically. And as you mentioned, this last month, a couple of bad outings. Other than that, very consistent. Because he can do what he just did. He can hit the outside corner. He can change speed. Here's one. Rookies. I'm not sure. Because the only guy that matters is Mike Escobar calling the pitcher. So there was one called a little bit earlier, but he thought that was low. It was in the middle of the plate. That one hit the corner.
So instead of 1-1 that he thinks it is, it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Throw it close. Yeah, I wouldn't take that ball right off the corner if Dillon throws it there again. Yeah, back in the day, you could actually, you throw a ball a little, maybe a 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch off the plate, but also could have been lower or outside. You just say lower or outside. Umpire didn't mind. He'd tell you because you wanted to know.
And he got him. And Guzman flips the bat. Well, our Ram Doo-Up's brought to you by Ram Trucks. Experience the power and the toughness of Ram at your local dealer, or log on to ramtrucks.com to get to work. Guts Glory Ram. Beckham Jones of Valencia when we come back. Twins. The Red Sox beat the Yankees again, so they have won all 3 games so far in that 4-game series. 4-1 the final. Boston now with an 8.5 game lead. Eovaldi, his 2nd consecutive outstanding start since he was acquired from Tampa Bay. Moreland and Martinez with home runs. Now the White Sox beat the Rays 2-1 at the Trop. Abreu's home run tied the game at 1. And Rondon pitching very well now that he's back from the DL. Just an unearned run, and Blake Snell came off the DL and got back in action.
But briefly, but again, pitching up to his capability. Lefty, young, talented.
Very efficient. He's retired 16 of the last 17.
Well, look at the strike to ball ratio. It's amazingly trending towards strikes with all pitches. So you can't really sit on one pitch. He's mixed them up. I mean, you can, if you get to 2 strikes, you can look inside, half, outside, but you almost look for the changeup because he's thrown so many of them. But if you can't read it, it doesn't matter. You just can't time it. That's why the changeup's so efficient.
What's a good strike to ball ratio for a pitcher?
Well, at least 2-1. And he's way above.
He's 75% strikes to him. He's 3-1. Right down the middle.
Yeah, see, I mean, this is the 3rd time through the order, and if you look at his numbers, they go up a little bit, but not dramatically, because he can pitch. So again, he just don't have any idea. And once he gets to 2 strikes, there's going to be a changeup, is going to be a fastball, which it was, or it's going to be a slider. So he's shown you everything, but he hasn't. You know, he's gone in and out to get guys out, so he's gotten hitters out now 2 or 3 different times as he goes through the lineup. That's what we were talking about right there. And, you know, 281. Now, you may, if you're Jeff Bannister, have a guy that has a lower number, so maybe you'll think about. He doesn't spike with a lot of guys where, you know, they may be 260, 310, and then 370. And then you're going to the bullpen sooner than later.
Hard hit ball off the glove of Odor. Jones is going to reach.
Well, you see a lot of Olays or side saddles in this ballpark because how firm the infield is. You know, Camden Yard, the ball would slow down a little bit. These are huge plays, you know, because if you catch this, and he doesn't, I mean, that ball, it'll probably be a hit. I hope it is. But it should. That's a ball that should have been caught. He actually had time to get in front, but I just think you get used to playing a side saddle because of the firmness. Boy, that's a play if you're Mike Minor. I'm not going to complain, but hey, you want to face Valencia with nobody out or a man on. Potential tie and run here.
A late called strike. Valencia doesn't like the call. Mr. Brooks having a tough night with the players.
Well, big strike zone. Favoring the pitchers, and the scoreboard tells you that.
Ground ball the other way. Odor with a diving stop, and he spins to get Valencia.
So he doesn't catch one, but he catches that. I mean, that would have been 1st and 3rd. Real nice play because it's a great approach by Valencia. Look, he just pokes it. But it's just, again, velocity. The exit velocity on the ball wasn't hit that hard, so he can get to it. Anything a little bit harder probably would have gotten into right field. Kind of what Jeff Bannister talked about Thursday. He's been here now 4 years, and he said, in my first 2 years, we won the division because we threw a lot of ground balls, and then we caught it. So they're looking, and we saw last night, Murata, the young pitcher, threw a lot of ground balls in Houston, and then in the 2nd start last night. So that's where they'd like to trend, with their pitching staff, which I think most clubs would like if you can do it. Guys trying to hit home runs. Throw the ground ball, you know that's not going to happen.
That is the 9th ground out hit by Oriole hitters, and 1 was a double play ball. 10 outs on ground balls, including the double play. Paul Fry still getting loose.
Yeah, guessing fastball got it and chased.
2 balls and a strike on Trumbo with Jones at second. That's a pretty good take. That was a close pitch. Trumbo gets on. Mancini comes up representing the go-ahead run. Change up.
And a good one. He was hoping for a fastball and didn't get it. And if you'll throw it 3-1, if you're Mark Trumbo, there's Garen, who came in last night, threw 3 ground balls, sinker ball. That really sets up this next pitch. No idea what's coming. Biggest pitch of the game for Mike Marner right here.
With 3-2 on Trumbo. Line drive. There's a base hit to center field. Adam Jones will come around to score, and it's a 1-run game. Big 2-out base hit for Mark Trumbo.
Yeah, and I imagine if you're Jeff Bannister, so you had a ball that Odor doesn't catch, and then you had a good play, and then this is a good at bat because he just fights it off.
And let's get a look at our forward drive of the game off the bat of Mark Trumbo.
Yeah, take a look. I mean, inside out, not trying to get greedy. Did on the 3-1 pitch, but it's a solid swing. Gets the first Oriole run in, make it 2-1.
Hurry to your local Ford dealers for great savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs. So Trumbo 2 out of 3 drives in a run. For Trumbo, his 18th multi-hit game. Cal having a chat as Guerin continues to get loose.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that they leave him in here because you mentioned the fact he was your reliever last year. 77 innings. Now all of a sudden, you got Guerin, who's a sinker baller. You get Mancini, who's seen him 3 times, so maybe that'll favor the Orioles.
Again, a wide strike.
Again, probably the efficiency, how good he's been tonight. Probably leave him in a little bit because it's not about the pitch count, but boy, every pitch has meant something.
This is the first inning that the Orioles have had 2 men reach in the same inning. They had only 2 base runners through the first 6 innings. Beckham's double in the first and Trumbo's single in the 5th, and Trumbo was on first base 1 pitch, and then Mancini bounced into a double play. Ground ball towards second. There's Odor. He'll get Mancini, and that'll do it. But the Orioles do get a run. 7th inning stretch, 2-1 game in Texas.
Thank you to the
States Coast Guard is being brought to you by DynCorp. We serve today for a better tomorrow. And by Navy Federal Credit, proudly serving the armed forces, veterans, and their families for over 80 years, federally insured by NCUA. The Coast Guard protects the maritime economy and the environment, defends our maritime borders, and saves those in peril. We thank them for all that they do for us. Just had God Bless America here during the 7th inning stretch, and the night is done for Dylan Bundy.
Really one pitch, an error by Nunez, and then a 1-2 fastball to Joey Gallo. The 3 home runs in this series down the right field line. You can see only the 1 earned run. Pitched well enough to win, but of course you need some run support, and he didn't get it. Looking for win number 7. That's not going to happen, but change up to Odor. Ultra late on the fastball. Great curveball right there to Tucci. And again, another one to Gallo. High fastball to Guzman to get out of the 6th inning. So our Jiffy Lube pitching change. Jiffy Lube stores now do brake services. Stop in and let Jiffy Lube perform a free brake inspection today. Paul Fry really been pitching well. Gave up a couple of runs in New York because he got him out of the 8th, came in the 9th. Mike Wright came in, threw a 3-run home run. But again, 1 out of 19 inherited runners. Actually gets righties out better than lefties to this point. Kept the ball in the ballpark. Would love to keep the game right where it is here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, he faced the Rangers the final day before the All-Star break back in Baltimore, and he pitched really well. You see the line there, 3 strikeouts against the Rangers.
Well, 91-93, real good slider.
Center field, that chases Jones, and he's got it for the out.
It's hard to tell. You talked about some of the pop flies. Looked like they didn't really carry very well, even though the fly ball in the 1st inning did. But I don't know if it's just the fact that we were 15-8 in the 1st game, 11-3 in the 2nd game, but all of a sudden, the scoreboard dictates if you get good pitching, it's harder to hit. That's been the case tonight. Yeah, I asked Paul Fry, I said, do you have a changeup? And he said, I work on it every day when I throw in the bullpen. I just don't throw it in the game because, don't feel like I'm in a position to do that yet. So it does have a 3rd pitch, just hasn't had a chance to establish it at the major league level.
Yeah, that could be an experiment for next spring training.
Yeah.
Use it in
well,
the spring.
Tippy Martinez, when Tippy was, along with Tim, started the closer for the Orioles in the 70s and whatever, really did a great job. Tippy, everybody said, hey, Tip, you're going to need a 3rd pitch. When do you throw it when your curveball and your fastball is that good? So right now, the fastball and the slider are working real well for Paul Fry. And he's sneaky. I mean, he just kind of, very easy and, speeds up the arm. It looks like he has a pretty good idea of staying in his windup.
Yeah, and he's not afraid of contact. No. Goes right at hitters.
Well, every time a good hitter came to the plate and you got out of the fact that, hey, you're not going to make your pitch and I'm going to worry about the hitter, who would you be looking at? You wouldn't be looking at the glove. You wouldn't be trying to throw the ball through that hitter to the catcher. And that's what the good windup allows you to do.
Past the mound, but there's VR. Jonathan to first at 2 down to get the hustling Tochi. This copyrighted telecast is presented by Authority of the Orioles. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. There's Jim Palmer's post-game snack.
Ribs.
Laxer there. There's Michael Gibbons getting loose.
Tell you what, on my press guide,
so far now, 2 outs, nobody on. And a strike.
I think I have
Guerin continuing to get loose, so possibly the night is done for Minor.
August 31st on my press guide. We'll be in Kansas City. rib capital of the world. You know, I'm sure a lot of other people think otherwise, but very good ribs.
Well, we'll probably travel there the day before and the day off.
Even better. We'll move it up a day.
There you go.
I'll text the HUD. What's up?
He's got all the connections.
He does. Well, no, you know, I don't think it's too hard when you get to Kansas City. Say, where do you have good? Would it be Gates? Would it be Bryant's?
Wherever you make a reservation, I'm in.
I'm not making a. We're just going and eating.
All right.
Dress casually.
Yeah, it'll be warm probably. Still.
Bibs are definitely
prerequisite.
Well, you want they give them to you at a good rib place. I mean, it's not like you're gonna eat them with a fork and a knife, man. I mean, grab them, go for it.
Weak ground ball to short.
Yeah, another great pitch.
So Beckham gets his man. Paul Fry comes on. A 3-up, 3-down 7. 2-1 game as we head to the 8th. And tonight it was all about Vladimir Guerrero, inducted into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown last Sunday, and tonight being honored by the Texas Rangers. Everybody having a good time, and that's what you get with Vladdy. He is always smiling. So the night is done, Jim, for Mike Minor. He goes 7 strong.
Yeah, they get to him in a sense. They get this one run. You know, pitched out of trouble, limited trouble early. Beckham double in the first inning. Didn't phase him. Look at that. Again, 86 pitches, very efficient. And Guerin's going to come in. Corey Guerin came in the other night. I didn't realize how. I mean, he's a short armor. You know, we saw. I don't even know if we saw him breaking ball. Just a lot of sinkers, a lot of ground balls. And we'll see Profar playing third base tonight. Whether they played the line, they're coming off the line. So I think a lot of teams will play the line, especially with a sinker baller, because he throws a lot of pitches down and in. But there's room to hit it over the bag for a double.
Lower third, Nunez, Rickard, Joseph due up. And there's a new left fielder, Drew Robinson, in the game. He replaces Calhoun. Robinson just called up from AAA today to replace Delino DeShields, who went on the concussion DL.
And another young player from Las Vegas. Played in 48 games last year.
Broken bat ball towards the middle, but Nunez has another base hit.
Well, you got to hit him at him to get outs. And I mean, that ball's off the end of the bat. They're playing pretty much straight away shortstop. So there's your tie and run at first. I mean, the bat's all over the place because he hit it out on the end. But boy, this, we'll see if the Orioles can make a little late rally here. 1 in the 7th already, trying to make do here.
There's Jeffrey Springs getting loose. The Orioles do not have a left-handed batter in the lineup tonight. They are a switch hitter. And here's Joey. Shows bunt, takes it high, and that was the bunt for a base hit approach.
Well, you'll wonder, you know, you do it in the National League where a pitcher will do the butcher boy where he squares around. With everybody coming in and they're anticipating the bunt, and it looked like he was going to, you do let him swing away here. I mean, everybody's moving. If you can hit the ball on the ground, and the ground ball pitcher, you might have a good chance of maybe not only getting Nunez the second, maybe the third. And you don't have to give up an out. You do have one opportunity, one or two opportunities to do that. Maybe only one strike, so perfect count.
He bunts at it, it's foul.
Yeah, bunting for a base hit.
And the wind just took half of our booth.
Well, it is gusting, and much more so, at least in, or at least the feeling is in tonight. And the flags are blowing straight up. But that, you know, those seem to be
dust.
Well, it's construction zone
construction
because of the new ballpark, yeah.
1-1 on Rickard. Ooh,
It's almost hit him.
Tried to get hit. The old lean in. Take one for the team.
I don't think he was bunting there either, was he?
Nope. Profar is still in at third, so he's not convinced the bunt is off.
Well, your traditional hit and run. 2-1. Got to throw a strike. Start the runner. Not a straight steal.
Pops up a breaking ball. Guzman is calling right by the line in fair territory. He has it for the out. And one away in the eighth. We hope you can join us tomorrow as the Orioles and Rangers wrap up the 4-game series with Jeffrey Ramirez on the mound. He'll go against left-hander Martin Perez. Our coverage on MASN 2 begins at 2:30 with those extra presented by Ford, and then game coverage at 3 o'clock. We've got all the access you need right here on MASN. The one down with Nunez at first, and here's Caleb, who has struck out twice tonight. He's now 2 for 13 on the trip.
Yeah, so Guerin comes in last night with a big lead. Nothing but sinkers tonight, breaking balls.
Same pitch, this one missed.
Well, he's big and tall, doesn't throw that hard, but it's all about movement. I mean, whether it's a breaking ball or the sinker. Came out of the Giant organization where he actually pitched well.
Left field down the line. That is hooking back foul.
Jim, we saw last night he pitches in and the ball runs so much that it's hard to hit fair. Because it's a good swing, but look at the position of the ball. I mean, it's way in and he's all over it. Hoping, kind of leaning, hoping it's fair, but that's what sinker ballers do. And then what you do is you try to go up and in and run the ball in, and then right here, the slider, either a strikeout pitch or maybe a double play ball. And there's the target from Olafa, low and away. Oh, you could see Mike Estabrook. He flinched.
He did flinch.
Wow. I mean, watch this. Yep. Almost like that right arm was going to go up. We've seen a big strike zone, so can't take that close pitch and expect it to be called a ball.
And that gets past the catcher, Kiner Falefa, and Nunez will reach second base. Well, that is a big play. Now the tying run in scoring position with one down.
Yeah, Guerin, he has a very unusual windup in the sense, I mean, we told you last night he flares his glove open, but he really he kind of just glides and short arms the ball. So he's, his perceived velocity is probably a lot better than 91, but again, when he throws it that far out, Malava had no chance to catch it.
So now a single can get this game even.
Yeah, well, 90 feet closer. And the infield comes in a little, the outfield comes in a little bit.
Caleb has run the count full. Garandillo swinging a high fly ball right field. Back on it is Gallo, and he's got it for the out. And Nunez played it halfway. He should have gone back to tag.
Well, that's what you like to do, and if it was nobody out, he would have gone back and tagged, and then he would have been at third base. So now all of a sudden it takes away the wild pitch or whatever, and it's all about getting a good read, and he doesn't get that, so he's just maybe anticipating it's going to drop, and it's not even close to being caught. But you got, again, and he'll learn this. You got to know where they're playing. You got to know who's hitting it. You got to know who's playing the outfield, what his positioning is. That'll get Buck to getting a drink. Well, this is what the last 2 months are about. Find out who can play or not. And it's not only on one side of the ball. It's okay. Can you hit? You got on. Can you run the bases? Do you have any instincts? What kind of defensive player? We saw made a nice play to get a ball, threw it away. So, and these are the things why he's been with other organizations. And I think they're trying to get him to understand, okay, that's in the past, but you got to do these certain things to play on this club and play in the major leagues. And I would like to think that he'll grasp that. And over the next 5-6 weeks, if he gets to play, he'll be a better player. Certainly going to get the opportunity. I think
he's being given a tremendous chance to be an everyday third baseman in the major leagues.
You can't turn the light switch on and teach a guy stuff overnight. So, and we talk about learning situations. That was one of them.
And here is VR. Chopper towards short. Andrews charges to play the hop, and he gets VR. So Guerin gets out of it as Nunez is left stranded. Base hit, one left, mid-8, 2-1 game. Miller Lite hold true moment, and we go to the 4th inning. Beltre leads off, routine ground ball to Renato Nunez, and he airmails it over Mancini's head. It ends up in the stands, and the next batter on a 1-2 pitch, Joey Gallo hits a 2-run home run, and that's the difference in the game right now as Texas leads it 2-1.
Yep, and he did everything right but the throw. He caught it, took a little crow hop, took plenty of time, and just threw it away, and then Dylan Bundy did not get the ball in. Target really pretty much in the middle of the plate, and that's where he threw it. Gallo, 3 home runs in this series.
So here is Gallo. Oh, I'm sorry, Odor. thinking Gallo on the home run we just saw. Odor, Andrus, and Beltre against Fry. This will probably be Fry's only batter this inning, with right-handers to follow. Well, Texas just announced that Drew Hutchison, who was with the Dodgers, having trouble cracking the big league club, opted out of his contract, and he signed a major league contract with Texas. And not only is he here, he's going to start against the Orioles tomorrow.
Is that the Drew Hutchinson we used to see with Toronto?
That is correct.
Right-handed pitcher.
He started the season with the Phillies. Got into 11 games with the Phillies. And opted out of his contract there, signed with the Dodgers, opted out of his contract there, and now he's with Texas. That ball's crushed right center field, and that ball's going to go. Odor hits it out. It's a 3-1 game.
Wow, the big hit last night, the grand slam. Home run Thursday. There you go. And of course they play the theme from The Natural. Must seem like it now. He's been red hot, player of the month in July. Skipper kind of likes it big. I mean, again, you invest $50 million in a 24-year-old kid. You want him to be able to have these kind of at-bats. And it's not about hitting home runs. I mean, he's walking, he's made some nice plays, and he just drills that ball.
Well, you saw Fry's reaction, and the father with a souvenir and his son with a souvenir. Pitching change in Texas.
Horrendous month of July. The numbers are up dramatically. I mean, he came into the season 18-3. He's done a wonderful job, converted infield with all the stuff in the world, fastball, slider, changeup. You know, this year, the batting average in base and balls up about 70 points higher than last year. So let's hope that he can turn it around, because he's going to be a big part of this Oriole team going forward.
So here is Andrus, and he'll take a strike.
So I said 0-5 in July. It was 0-5 in June. You know, now really the mainstay of this bullpen. And a few guys standing from the old core.
Center field, that's playable for Adam Jones. And he's got it for the out, and one away. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by Royal Farms. Royal Farms world famous chicken is #1 in Food and Wine magazine for best fast food fried chicken. Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast. And by American Standard, find your local independent American Standard heating and air dealer at midatlanticcomfort.com. Ball one to Beltre. Beltre reached on the error by Nunez. There's Leclerc getting loose for the save.
Yeah, we figured he might be their closer. Didn't see him. Of course, the score didn't dictate it. Didn't see him Thursday or Friday night. I told Michael yesterday, I said, hey, go in there and tell him I want to get myself right. I want to be the closer. He's certainly capable of doing that. Somebody's going to have to play that role. He's getting bad habits. He's a leg swinger, so a lot of times you fly open, the ball gets flatter. It's not only the average by the lefties, it's also the fact that the base on balls have been a lot higher.
And then he waved at it.
But I mean, 96 to 97, hit a little bit higher. Got 3 pitches. The other thing I told him, Jim, you talked about Vladimir Guerrero getting into the Hall of Fame last Sunday. I was sitting at the same table when a converted infielder, Trevor Hoffman, got over 600 saves and entered the Hall. And I said, you know what? Same as you. Of course, he was known for his changeup, even though he could throw a lot of other pitches. He's got them all. There's a good changeup.
And now Joey Gallo does.
Yeah. Hey, first mistake of the year.
And that laser beam home run in line.
Dylan Bundy is going to have it too, because it's the only bad pitch he really made. And you go back and you go, okay, well, should I have tried to go farther in, or maybe thrown him a changeup? You get pounded. I never had problems sleeping. It's the close game. They're the one-pitch games. Certainly with run support would have been a little bit different look, but
it's 97 by him. Givens has allowed 7 runs since the All-Star break in 6 appearances. 6 of those runs earned.
Well, he was, we were talking in New York too. I mean, yesterday we were talking here, and saw him on the elevator on Wednesday, and he goes, yeah, a lot of blue chips. I said, yeah, that's baseball. That has nothing to do with you as a talent. That's some of the things you can't control. And again, right, you just control the things you can, and he did it this inning.
So strike 3 called, home run by Odor. O's come up, down by 2. Top of the 9th coming up. Southwest, low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Lovely Saturday evening here in Arlington, Texas. O's come up down by 2, last chance. And here's Jose Leclerc coming on to try to close it out.
Yeah, only turned 2 earned runs in about 15 games. He's never, you can see, he hadn't closed a game. So Diekman leaves. He was traded, a hard-throwing lefty. Well, this will be his 5th opportunity. And again, power arm. Good breaking ball cutter, mid-90s. Last year, 23 hits in 47 innings. That gives you a pretty good idea. He's tough to hit. That's why that home run by Odor was so important. Gives him that extra run.
Beckham goes through the fastball, 0-1.
Yeah, this isn't one of those guys you don't have to swing hard on, because he's going to supply the power. And the harder you swing, probably the less chance you have of hitting it. And again, it's not only the velocity, he's got a very live fastball. There's another one at 97. So now a lot of times when you look at people, the analytics will tell you, okay, well, the spin rate. And those are 4 seamers. You know, hold the ball with the seams, back spin it. Garrett Richards is hurt, out for the, of course, Verlander, one of the premier pitchers. Carl Edwards Jr. out of the pen for the Cubs. And you can see how much better it is from the average, 22.63 at the bottom of the page. You know, all he has to do is throw something close to get him to chase. There's the breaking ball.
24 years old, from the Dominican Republic. He's been with Texas his entire big league career. Signed with the Rangers back in 2010. Strike 3 called on the inside corner at 97.
And it looked like it was a strike.
Center fielder Adam Jones.
He hardly had to move the glove, and you know, I think when you're trying to catch up and again inside corner, Isaiah Connor Olaf has done a nice job. You know, big strike zone, get the glove right on the corner, and get one of the 3 outs they need here in the ninth. Yeah, I was trying to talk to Michael Gibbons, and the same thing for Leclerc. I said, hey, it doesn't change. It's probably easier than some of the setup jobs you have. You know, you usually when a closer comes in this case, clean inning, nobody on. You can get yourself into trouble, of course, but it's not like you come in with the bases loaded, but runs it first, second, and third, whatever.
Popped up. And Adam has just been called for interference. Doesn't matter. Kaleka stayed with it, and 2 down. Adam didn't know where the ball was, I don't think, and he was looking up.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Kalapa did either, but everybody was coming to get it, you know, because that's the second out. You need 1 more, and it's a windy night, +3. He caught it niffly. No doubt about it. Boy, I don't see a lot of stress on the third face. Again, only 2 runs in the last 15 innings.
So it's up to Valencia to keep it going. And this one's low. He had 2 saves last year. This would be his first save this year. Looking fastball and didn't get it.
Well, that's a pretty gutsy pitch right there. I mean, we figured Valencia would be looking fastball, and he waves it. Breaking ball, had no idea he'd throw that pitch in that count. And there's the hanger, I mean, over his head. And it's a ball, but it's been a strike all night, so you can't say anything about it. You can complain. It gets, you know, certainly for Leclerc makes it a little bit easier, but it's been a strike.
He looked down where he caught it. So see, that was a ball. The 2-2 is ripped, and a diving play at third by Profar to end it. Valencia got a hanger, he ripped it, but Profar goes down to get it, and that's the ball game.
Yeah, great play right here. I mean, you can see his feet is actually going to his right.
They love it. They're in their uniforms. They want to play.
Of course, they think it's Beltry. That's usually a play he makes.
So the O's go 3 up, 3 down. Final score in Arlington, Texas. Rangers win it 3-1.